Good morning, everyone. Doris Walensky has Yortzeit today for her father of blessed memory, Avram ben Yitzchak, and her husband Chaimi and her son Simon have joined us this morning. And would you please convey to Doris our very best wishes? Wish her Chaim Rukim, and very, very nice. There you are. How nice to see you, and wish you long life and many, many wonderful, wonderful memories. And to Linda, I'm so sorry you had to wake up so early in the morning. We're going to start our second service in just a moment. The Blooms haven't arrived yet. No doubt we'll see them shortly. You might want to contact them in case they're having difficulty coming onto the program. Okay, so here is another letter that was response to a letter from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, once again putting his very, very forceful view about going off to live in Israel. We've seen one very strong response in a previous letter. This one is considerably even stronger. It is written to him by somebody in Jerusalem who had previously lived in Richmond, Virginia. And he writes in response as follows: apropos, with reference to the second part of your letter, I must say that it came as a painful surprise for me to read your question asking me about the number of Lubavitchers who have fled the United States to settle in Israel. I use the term fled advisedly, since unfortunately, so many people have indeed fled from the USA and other countries when they should have remained there in the forefront of the battle for Jewish survival. And therefore their departures brought about a serious decline in Yiddishkeit in their own cities and communities, leaving them completely exposed to the twin threats of assimilation and intermarriage. With all due respect, I consider them deserters from the battlefront, while in some cases they've actually aggravated the situation by using their influence to persuade others to emulate them. This may appear to be unduly hard censure, but it unfortunately reflects the reality of the situation. To argue that all those who go to Eretz Israel will surely find an easier and a better life from the viewpoint of Yiddishkeit is the same as arguing that a soldier in the battlefront would find it easier and better to go home. Nevertheless, he would still be considered a deserter. Since you write that you had the opportunity to visit Richmond more than once and meet there a young Lubavitch man who arrived there only recently, just several months before, and has already managed to accomplish so much there for your community as a whole, your first question should have been addressed to yourself and others who have left their native communities, namely, what gives a Jew the right to leave his community in order to better his own position, or even that of other Jews, either materially or spiritually or both, in the face of a clear halacha in the Torah that the poor of your city have first claim. I don't wish to dwell on this painful subject at any greater length, especially as this is, after all, my first letter to you. You can imagine what the second and the third one is going to be. I was prompted to write the above only in reply to your strange question and attitude, since it apparently has not occurred to you that had you yourself remained in Richmond, you might have been instrumental in saving so many of our young people, although saving even one soul is like saving a whole world. Needless to say, by the way, I'm not suggesting that you should now leave Israel and try and rectify the misconception, because having settled in Israel, you're not permitted by the Shulchan Aruch to leave it. But there may be many other ways in which you could be of help to Jews in Virginia, even while living in Eretz Israel. So another extraordinary, he has a very, very strong view on this. And of course, that is something which determined the whole direction of the Lubavitch movement. In other letters, of course, when he's questioned about his support of Israel, he makes it absolutely clear of the extent to which he is supportive of Israel itself and of Jews living in Israel, etc., etc. So this is not being against Israel. This is about the sense that Aliyah has not always benefited, in many instances, has left complete, the communities from which people have made Aliyah have left them bereft of influential people, and he sees that as being, a very, very big problem. At any rate, that's the letter. We're going to look at something else for our second session today, something a bit more cheerful. But thank you all for joining us, and we turn now to our onliners. Good morning.